Hey everybody, this is Coach Adrian. We're going to be going over our last 4 movements to help us with our golf swing. This is going to be our power transmission section. This section is going to be important with training fascial lines that we've talked about. Also, it's really important that now we've gone over our first 2 sections of T-spine and hip mobility, as well as postural stability and awareness. So now that we're going to get the most out of our golf swing, it behooves us to make sure that we can transmit all that power that we're creating to our golf swing as efficiently as possible.
All right, guys. So next movement we got is going to be a push-pull. So this is going to be the first movement in our power transmission series. For the setup here, we're going to be using the cables and attach 2 handles. So when you're ready, we want to set up our cables about rib cage height, just under the pecs. So for me, that's about level 7. It can go up or down depending on how tall you are. This weight shouldn't really be too much of a factor. This is more of an explosive movement. We don't really want to be bogged down by a bunch of weight. We want this movement to be fast, okay? So we're going to grab the handle on one side and then the other side as well. And then from here, whatever hand is going to be doing the punching, right? This is a push-pull. We're going to put that same leg backwards behind us. And whatever leg is in front, that's the arm that's going to be pulling, all right? So from here, we're going to bend our knees a little bit. And then as we push with the back arm, we're going to pull with the front arm and extend as well. All right, so together, it's going to look like this. Push and pull, all right? Push and pull. And again, this is supposed to be a really fast movement, so make sure that you're not being bogged down by some weight. Make sure that the weight is light, not so much that it bounces a lot, but enough that challenges you, but not enough to slow you down. So once again, we're to the other side, grabbing with the front foot, and that back foot is the one that's punching. So we're going to push and pull, push and pull. This exercise is really important for training those fascial lines that we spoke about. So as you load the anterior hip, that fascial line goes up to the shoulder. So then as you extend, opposite way, as you extend, you load that anterior hip and then extend through the upper body as well. We're going to be doing a rotational, perpendicular med ball toss. So I don't have a partner here today. In the fitness center here, we don't really have a wall you can throw up against. But if you come up to one of us at the fitness center counter, we're more than happy to catch for you, be a buddy, roll it back to you, whatever you need, all right? But medicine ball work is really valuable because we get to accelerate this medicine ball as fast as we can without really having to worry about slowing it down at the end or decelerating the load, right? So perpendicular just kind of references your body position as opposed to what you're throwing at. So if I were to throw it at the camera here, this would be a parallel because I'm parallel to the camera. So perpendicular means I'm throwing at something that's intersecting my line of sight here, all right? So for this, I'm using a dead ball so it doesn't, continue to roll. But all we're gonna do is start with it right in the middle of your chest, and then we're gonna kind of try to mimic the golf swing as much as possible. So from here, we're gonna load our back hip, right? So also transferring that weight backwards and then throw. All right, so notice that as I load, the knees are bending opposing forces to each other. And then when I swing, I clear the back hip and then I turn the back foot as well while trying to my best to keep my front foot and front hip closed, creating torque with my back hip as opposed to my front, and that front foot kind of keeping the system, all the kinetic energy that I'm producing going that way instead of continuing to turn. Again, demoing it one more time. Start with ball right in the middle of the chest, feet about shoulder width apart. We're gonna load up nice and slow and throw. All right, make sure that even though if you're a righty or a lefty and you wanna swing and practice one side, it's important to get the other side as well, just to maintain balance and strength proportional to each side. Okay, so for the next one, we're gonna be doing something a little different. We're gonna be using a resistance band and also one of these Swiss balls, okay? So this is kind of designed to be very close to a golf swing. So using this is just gonna create a little bit of separation between the band and our body. The band is gonna be set up around knee height, but you can also use a cable if you want. I just like the band because it doesn't bounce as we're doing this explosive movement. So you're grabbing the band with both hands, and this, once again, creating a little bit of separation between our body and the band. So I like this also because the further away that this band gets from our body, the more it engages our core. So it's kind of playing off of the same effect of the Palloff press that we did in the stability portion, but we're grabbing the band. Create a good bit of tension for yourself, right? So we don't want to have no tension and then swing. We want to have a little bit of tension to start and then gradually get more and more as we go through the movement, right? So once again, starting right center in our chest, and then from here we're bending our knees, feet about shoulder width apart again, and then from here we're going to give ourselves a little backswing, not all the way, because again we want the tension on the band. Right, we're gonna give ourselves a little backswing and turn, all right? So small backswing, turn, right? So once again, keeping that front foot turned inwards to create tension in our hips and just clearing the back hip, because that's where in our golf swing, we're really creating the most power by using that back hip. And then the small counter movement to kind of engage our stress shortening cycle here, and then exploding through the movement, keeping my chest up and my core engaged and controlling it once again. It's gonna be important to do both sides also, just like the other movements that we do, the push-pull or the rotational med ball throw, because we don't want one side of our body or one of our obliques to be weaker than the other, because that's gonna be a limiting factor. If one side is weaker than the other, it's not gonna matter how strong one side is gonna be, because they both have to work in unison. We don't want that to be our weakest link, and we wanna be as strong and as powerful as possible. So last movement of our power transmission section. If you haven't noticed, some of these movements are a little funky, a little different. That's just because a lot of equipment that we have just in the fitness industry in general isn't really made to be used in a rotational aspect. They think that rotation is dangerous. But because we want to improve our golf game, we got to be a little bit intuitive, all right? So last movement is going to be a rotational push press. So to do this movement, we need a landmine. So here in the fitness center, we have 3. You could also do this with a resistance band if you don't feel comfortable with the barbell. But if we're doing this just the way that it's prescribed, we slide the barbell into the landmine here in this socket, and then we're gonna start in this position up here, all right? So outside hand is gonna be the one that holds the barbell, right? So outside hand, and then from here, all we want to do, we don't want to do a full squat to press. We want this movement to be athletic, right? So in the sports world, we don't ever squat all the way down to jump. We do a quarter squat and jump, right? We just want enough counter movement to engage the stress shortening cycle. Same exact thing here, all right? So once again, feet about shoulder width apart. We can do the hand on the hip or hand down, whatever you want to do. So from here, all we're doing, quarter squat, press, right? So once again, trying our best to keep front foot closed, rotating the back hip open as we try to create torque, right? So once again, right hand on the barbell, quarter squat, push, right? We want this movement to be fast, we want it to be powerful, we want it to replicate the sport, right? So one more time, quarter squat, push, right? So this, once again, is engaging those fascial lines that we keep talking about. The hip, as we load into that squat, is loading up, and then we clear the hips as we push up with that right. Thank you guys once again for tuning in for our power transmission, our stability and postural awareness, as well as our T-spine and hip mobility. I really believe that these movements will not only help you improve your golf game, but also increase quality of life. You know, T-spine mobility and stability are really big just in general, and as we age, the first thing that we lose is power. So these power movements mixed with all the mobility and stability movements that we did are gonna be really important to just overall wellness and fitness, and I really hope that it improves your golf game.
Thanks again, guys, for tuning in to our 3 video series, and as well as the biomechanics breakdown. This has been the 4 movements that are gonna help you with your power transmission and production. Thank you guys for tuning in. You know, if you guys need any help at all, please feel free to visit myself, Jada, or Becky in the fitness center, and we're happy to help you get on your A game to take on this golf outing.